Right, out here doing a little practicing today. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Anyway, you'll see me doing a little shooting today. Shooting at a suspended Reinhardt throw ball, which I think is probably the best practice you can do for 3D outside of 3D or at 3D animals, because it lets you get a slight picture of what gap under a target should look like. Shooting Reinhardt 18-1 sitting on the ground up there, you kind of get an idea of where to put your point at. It doesn't look the same on 3D animals. So I like to get a target where I have air under it, or space under it, where I can get my mind and my subconscious ready for what that's supposed to look like. And what I do is I just subconsciously let my point find a home. I let my mind and my subconscious set all that up. It's working pretty good. Kind of pulling a Jordan Graham and just not really worrying about, is it 26, is it 27? It looks like 28 yards. The way I shoot, I shoot a feels good gap. Where it looks good in my sight picture, I'll leave it there. Pull the old Joel Turner and watch it to keep it, and then I'll just run my shot process, feather to nose, or whatever flavor of the month I'm doing at the time. But right now, Spring Nationals is Saturday, and I've been working feather to nose pretty well for the last year and a half, so I'm gonna stick with it for right now until I get more comfortable with my grip sear. And I'm just going to do the thing. I got 2 arrows down there. I'm going to walk you down there and show you. Oops. Phone turned over on me. I mean, they're not slapping shafts, but if you've ever seen a Reinhardt throw ball, just about anywhere on that throw ball is going to be an 8 on a 3D target, just about. So I was aiming for that smallest circle right here. And my shots were probably about, I don't know, I was 20, in between 20 and 25 yards. But not really worried about what specific yardage is, because with my setup right now, my gap for about 18 to 25 seems like picture. I don't have to worry about making any kind of adjustments. The adjustments really come in under 15 and under, and then past 25. So all I'm doing is I'm just getting that where I was shooting the grip sear for a while. I'm trying to get back into the feel of the sight picture for gap. I was way more consistent doing that, and I just want to run with that for right now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm out here. Maybe you can see the throw ball here. I kind of set it up a little better, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. Critique my form. So what I'm doing, I'm pulling up, getting anchor. I'm trying to run everything I can subconsciously. And the only conscious thing I'm really doing is working on the process to get me through my shot. You've never heard Joel Turner's message with Shot IQ, you need to go check him out. the simplicity of his message is far overthunked by a lot of archers, because really archery should be as easy as pulling the arrow back, letting subconscious run just about everything, and only thinking very minimal. And that's where your good instinctive archers shine, is because they're really not thinking about a whole lot. Well, you start to aim a little bit, and your mind gets to going crazy on you. So I've tried to take everything out of the equation except for what gets me through my shot. And what I'm doing is, once I catch my sight picture, I don't really even think about it too much. I just kind of draw back, I settle in for a second, and by the time about a 1001, 1002 happens, and I finish settling in, I'll do what I need to do to start my movement to get me through the shot. Here's my last 3 arrows. Those 2 right there, pretty much in the same hole. It's as easy as letting the subconscious run everything. I'm telling you, I love it. I wish that, let me pause for a second. Hit the wrong button a while ago. Went to pause it to take my arrows out, and wound up hitting the stop button. So I've changed locations. I backed up a little bit. I think you can still see the Reinhardt down there somewhere. Yeah, it's about right in there. Anyway, I'll walk you down there after a shot. I don't know, I'm past 25, so here's where things start to change a little bit in the sight picture. No big deal. Still gonna let the subconscious set the sight picture. And all I'm doing, seriously, all I'm doing, pulling up, catching anchor, 1001, 1002. I'm not really counting in my head, but that's about how long I take to settle in, to get the solid archery mechanics on and get into holding. And once I feel my alignment is good, I'll start my pulling, or start my expansion, and that feather touches and she gone. And that first arrow found its mark. It's a little bit low right. It's okay. I don't know how far that is. I don't have a rangefinder on me. IBO, when I'm out there on the course, you're not going to have a rangefinder on you. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. It's feeling pretty good. And what I'm doing, form related wise, to make sure everything's consistent, is, and it might not work for everybody. There's no cookie cutter way to do it, but what I'll do is, when I approach, I'll look at the target, I'll stare it down for a second, I'll get an idea in my head what the yardage is, so I kind of know what my sight picture is going to look like pre-hand before I ever draw the string. You know, the less you can think about it full draw, the better off you're going to be. So I'll dress my string, I'll get my grip according to Solid Archery Mechanics, the hook. Go listen to that Coaching Moments, or get the Solid Archery Mechanics from the Push Podcast, or the Push Podcast, I can't even talk, the Push Podcast pack on their website. Money well worth spent. I'll address that hook, I'll get it in, and I'm just letting, we draw the anchor so many times. How many arrows have we fired, you know, in the last year? How many times you've come to anchor? You should have that ingrained enough to where your subconscious can run all that. You shouldn't have to even think about it. And you know, subconsciously, if the anchor don't feel right, when you do, let it down. It's okay. If you have to let down 6 times before you fire 1 arrow, that's okay. That's a good, strong mental game. But I make sure, form related wise, that I'm standing erect. I'm always straight up and down. My head's not bent over. I'm not leaning into. I don't draw back and lean over into the shot. I don't know how people shoot like that. I can't do it. You see Aaron Snyder shoot like that a lot. I mean, he's leaned over like crazy. It works for him, and it works well because he keeps his tee, he keeps his alignment even when he's bent over. when I bend over, I have up and down issues with my holds because it makes me see the arrow differently. That's okay. I mean, you watch old Zernzak. When he draws back, he leans. I mean, it looks like he leans way back into his. But that worked for him. There's no cookie cutter way to do this. Whatever feels the best for you, do it. But do it repeatedly. Do it where you can get it to be repeatable, and you'll be way better off. So I stand erect and I bring everything from here to my face. I bring everything to my head. I have a head position set, and that way it doesn't change when I pull everything back. I don't get a sight picture. I get my sight picture pre-draw. I'll look at it, and then my head doesn't move the whole time. It stays right there, so that the sight never changes. All I do is place in my peripheral. I place the arrow tip. I start my expansion. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. These shots are probably, if I had to guess, 28, 29 yards. We'll step it off just to see how close I am. That's 2 arrows. So, I stepped off 32 yards. I visually, literally thought it was 28, maybe 29. So I was 5 yards off from what I thought it was to what it actually was. That's where a good subconscious aiming system works well, because your brain is a lot better aimer than what your eye can see, really. That didn't make a lot of sense, but subconsciously you should be able to aim better than what you really judge it at. That's where them instinctive shooters come in really well at. They have that mental capacity to be able to aim that arrow mentally, yardage wise, so they'll know what that sight picture looks like. That's what they're shooting at. An instinctive archer sees that sight picture, boom, it's gone. And that's what I'm trying to do, plus use the arrow tip for a reference. So there's the 2 shots at 32 yards, roughly. My steps might be a little off. It might have been closer to 30, but my point on, as I found out yesterday, is 35 yards. And I was probably, if I had to reference that, where the arrow tip looked like, here's the ball. My arrow tip was probably somewhere like that to hit where I did. And I was a little bit low, so I could come up a little bit with that. But I'm gonna keep on stroking with that, see where it gets me Saturday. I was really worried about my gaps being so low, and I was so worried about being so critical with the yardages and stuff like that, that I think we all do it. We all overthink it sometimes. But I'm gonna roll with that and see what we get. So I'm gonna get out here and shoot a little bit more. I started shooting less arrows than I normally do. I was shooting so much I was killing my shoulders, killing my back, because I was overthinking everything. And I would get out here and I start shooting good. I start thinking too much. I start shooting bad. And Lord, I wouldn't go inside till I started shooting good again. And it was all when I took my head out of it. But anyway, I'll let you know what happens Saturday. I'll keep everyone posted. And if you got any questions or comments, drop them down below, and I'll get it answered the best way I can. This is Paul, Triple T Archery, Stick and String Life. Y'all shoot straight. God bless.